Welcome to one more session on microscopy, and today we are going to explore a microscopy called the confocal microscopy. What is confocal microscopy? Confocal microscopy is a very powerful technique, and you can see that we mainly provide sharp images of a sample that would otherwise appear to be blurred when viewed under a conventional microscope. And always it has been found that three-dimensional structures from images are obtained by this technique. But how is this been possible and how does it look? So let's just explore that. Now, if you go to look into this picture, you can see that this is a non-confocal image and this is a confocal image. So a 3D appearance is possible when it comes to a confocal image. And how is this made possible? Let's go to one more figure so it becomes more clear to you. Now, if you go to look onto this figure, you are getting images from different planes of the focus, and thus when you use a conventional light microscopic technique, your field will be found to be blurred or sometimes even fuzzy because the background, like the images from different fields, are being present in this image. But if you go to look a confocal scanning laser microscope, the image of the same specimen is being viewed at only one plane. And so the focused plane alone is being displayed. And this makes it more easier for us to understand what is happening within that one plane. And simultaneously, different planes can be viewed. And as a result, you can analyze different fields also, different planes of the particular specimen. So, when three-dimensional objects are being viewed under a light microscope, when the light from all areas of the object, but not just the plane of focus, will enter the microscope, and the image which has been created in a conventional light microscope will appear to be murk and fuzzy. So, if you go on to a confocal microscope, you can see that only one plane of focus the image of one plane of focus can be created, and as a result, the background images will be cancelled off or will not be shown, and so you get a clear-cut image. And what is a beam that which we use here to view it? It is usually a laser beam which is used to illuminate the specimen, and it has been found that the specimen that which we use here will already be fluorescently stained. And one of the major component of the confocal microscope is that there is an aperture which is being placed above the objective lens. And this aperture will eliminate all the stray light from other parts of the specimen that lie above and below the plane of focus. And as a result, the computer is able to compile the images created from each point, and you get a three-dimensional image. So let's move on to the parts of it. See, this is a laser beam which produces the lasers, and it has been passed through a pinhole aperture, and it passes, and finally it reaches a dichromatic mirror which will direct the laser onto the particular specimen. So when it reaches onto the specimen has already been fluorescently stained, okay, and it will emit certain light of when the laser beam is being falling onto it, and that light will be passing through the objective lens. It moves across the dichromatic mirror, and then there is a barrier filter, and at the same time there is a pinhole aperture as we had mentioned earlier, and this pinhole aperture will allow only those light from one plane of focus to enter into the photomultiplier detector. Okay, this photomultiplier detector is the one which is connected to a computer, and the computer gives us a particular image corresponding to the light which it receives. And all the light which is above or below the plane of focus will not be considered by the confocal microscopy, and thus you get a clear-cut image. So, the reconstruction of three-dimensional structures from images obtained by this technique is possible by taking a large number of images at different depths within a thick objects. So you can at what does it means? Not only one focus, different images at different plane of focuses can be created, and as a result, you will get a three-dimensional, and the computer will compile all them, and then you get a three-dimensional structure. And scanning by one or more focus beams of light, usually from a laser or an arc discharge source across the specimen, is used to obtain images by confocal microscopy, and the objective lens is used to focus the light beam on the specimen, and the object is scanned using some form of scanning device under the computer control. And the sequence of points of light from the specimen are detected by the photomultiplying tube, and the output from the photomultiplying tube is built into an image and displayed by the particular computer. And this is the inside of a confocal microscope. I'm not going to the details of it. And computers, as I told, they are an integral part of processing and creating the confocal images, and the computer interfaced with a confocal microscope receives a digitalized information or a digitized information from each plane in the specimen that has been examined, and this information is used to create a composite image that is very clear and detailed, or to create a three-dimensional reconstruction of the particular specimen. And we can see that now this is a schematic representation of what we had seen earlier. And let's move on. If you go to look at this picture, this is a three-dimensional reconstruction of the Pseudomonas aeruginosa biofilm. The biofilm was exposed, Pseudomonas aeruginosa is a bacteria which is capable of forming biofilm. What is a biofilm? A biofilm is just like a layer of bacterial cells which grows on surfaces, so that the spreading or the growth of the Pseudomonas aeruginosa in this case is being possible, and it also contributes to its virulence and all that. So when they are in biofilms rather than being single, the virulence of the pathogens is being found to be very higher. So now in this structure, the biofilm is being exposed to an antibacterial agent, and after that it has been stained with living as well as dead cell identifying fluorochromes, and you can see that the living cells will appear to be as green in color, and the dead cells are being viewed here as red cells. And the cells on the surface of the biofilm have been killed, but those in the lower layers are still alive. So this is a confocal scanning laser microscopy based imaging of Pseudomonas aeruginosa biofilm, and it clearly demonstrates that the difficulty in killing biofilms, which are being when the bacterial cells are being found to be inside, it is very difficult to kill them using any antibacterial agent. Now, what are the advantages and the disadvantages of confocal laser scanning microscopy? You can see that the ability to serially produce thin optical sections through fluorescent specimens that have a thickness ranging up to 50 micrometer or more is possible in the case of confocal microscopy. And you can also control the depth of the field, and you can isolate and collect a plane of focus from the sample, thus eliminating all the out of focus or the haze normally seen within a fluorescent sample. And you can also eliminate or reduce the background information away from the focal plane. And you can also compensate for autofluorescence also. And a minimum specimen preparation and instrument reconfiguration is needed in the case of confocal laser microscopy. These are the advantages which we are talking in the beginning. And coming to its disadvantage is a co-localization of fluorophores in confocal microscope. That is, two or more fluorescent emission signals can often overlap in digital images recorded by confocal microscopy because of their close proximity within the specimen. So that is a disadvantages of confocal laser microscopy, laser scanning microscopy. But of course, we do have some advantages also of of this particular technique. Now, what are the main applications of it? Of course, we saw in the biological science, uh, you can use it in different ways, either from cell biology, genetics, microbiology, as well as in developmental biology. We can use this particular technique, and it is being also being used in scientific and industrial communities, and typical applications in life science, semiconductor inspection, material science, in quantum optics, nanocrystal imaging, and spectroscopy. And coming to the final points, of course, we have a three-dimensional imaging technique, and all the out of focus light has been blocked, and you can get the specimens of about 1 micrometer in size can also be viewed under this. And the reflective and the selectively permeable mirrors direct the light to the sample and collect the emitted light from the sample in a scanning mode. And we can see that color images of relatively thick specimens can be rendered with extended depth of the field, and the intensity of the height profiles and the surface topography can be rapidly and easily estimated. And these are some of the advantages of confocal microscopy over the conventional optical microscopy. So I guess it is clear to you. And let me just talk about two more things: the scanning probe microscopy, or the scanning tunneling microscope, where a steady current is maintained between the microscope probe and the specimen, and up and down movements of this probe will help us to maintain a up and movement of the probe as it maintains current is detected, and it is used to create an image of the surface of the specimen. And we in scanning probe also we have an atomic force microscope also, and sharp probe moves over the surface of the specimen at a constant distance, and up and down movement of the probe as it maintains constant distance is detected and used to create images. And sometimes you can see that AFM can be combined with uh, the confocal microscopy to get a better resolution. So different combinations of these microscopes are being possible to get a better resolution. And with this, we come to an end of confocal laser scanning microscopy. Thank you for now.